Israeli President Isaac Herzog says his country is ready for a second humanitarian pause in Gaza in order to secure the release of more Israeli captives.
I can reiterate the fact that Israel is ready for another humanitarian pause and additional humanitarian aid in order to enable the release of hostages. And the responsibility lies fully with Sinwar and the leadership of Hamas.
Hamas has issued a statement saying it affirms its position of categorically rejecting any forms of negotiations about prisoner exchange under the continuing Israeli genocidal war. However, it says we are open to any initiative that contributes to ending the aggression and opening the crossings to bring in aid and provide relief to the Palestinian people. Let's bring in our correspondent, Bernard Smith. He's joining us live from Tel Aviv. And Bernard, Herzog's indicated Israel's ready to negotiate as Prime Minister Netanyahu is set to meet families of captives.
Yeah, it's a significant statement from Herzog, the first really sort of public indication that momentum is moving towards the idea of some sort of pause or ceasefire. The question will be whether it is just that, a pause, a humanitarian pause, as the Israelis would call it, or a full ceasefire. And Netanyahu's meeting between 15 and 19 families later this evening here in Tel Aviv, families of captives. They say they asked for this meeting a week ago, and they've only just got it now, and they asked for it a week ago. That was before those 3 captives were shot dead accidentally by 2 Israeli soldiers. So momentum does seem to be moving that way. We also know there's been meetings between the Qataris, the Israelis and the Americans in a couple of meetings in Europe since Friday and on Monday, and we understand that there's going to be a meeting in Cairo in the coming days with Hamas representatives, and that'll be the first time there's been that sort of a meeting since the collapse of the first ceasefire more than a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so the families of captives certainly keeping up the pressure on the Israeli government. Meanwhile, the Israeli economy is taking a beating, Bernard, because of the war. 600 workers from the Israeli Airport Authority have been put on unpaid leave. What impact is this having on people's lives there?
Yeah, and there's 1,000 airport workers are on 75% of their had their pay reduced, by 75%, and 1,000 jobs that had been held by reservists who are now fighting in Gaza, those jobs are not going to be filled because people are not travelling to Israel, and the airport is struggling because there's no people are not coming to the country. I think there's about 100 flights a day instead of 500. Lufthansa, Austrian Airlines and Swiss Air say they'll resume flights on the 8th of January, but only at 30% capacity because there isn't the traffic, and the airports are hoping other airlines, will resume. But there's a significant impact on the economy. About 5% of Israel's GDP comes from aviation and tourists coming into the country.
All right, Bernard, thank you very much for that. That's Bernard Smith, live in Tel Aviv.